These embodiment circles were created a couple years ago. Mark Walsh is the embodiment facilitator. That's his website. He does corporate embodiment training as well as embodied yoga principles. He does any kind of body work or facilitator. He helps them get in touch with the body. And so a couple years ago, he started these embodiment circles, and they're kind of ran autonomously. We can choose however we want to do them. And at the start of COVID, they all went online, and because of that, there's a lot more options. And so now we're doing themes. There was a first round at the start of the quarantine. All circles were ran pretty similarly, and now we're doing themes to kind of see what people are interested in. So this circle is dedicated to the forces of nature. That's kind of how I see it. And so tonight we're going to be exploring sound as a force of nature, whether it comes from us or comes from without, and how we work with the sound that we make. And I thought this is actually quite perfect because I currently have poison ivy breaking out on my throat, and this is a time where we can be, for me I should say, I want to be using my voice and think more diligently about the sounds that I'm making. So tonight we're going to be exploring some of what that means, just asking questions. Hopefully we get into some good discussion, which I'm sure we will. The purpose of these circles is embodied learning and connection. So we're going to start out tonight with a body-based meditation, and then we're going to do some body-based movement, and then discussion after that. If at any point you want to turn off your microphone or your video, or if you want to leave, you have full right to do so. The 3 rules of the circles are consent, you're in charge, whatever you don't want to do, you don't have to do, and awareness, so awareness that you have that choice, and awareness that if you're at all feeling uncomfortable, make that decision for yourself, and confidentiality, so everything that comes up in the circle stays in the circle. And if we do breakouts, which we're kind of a small group, so we might not do that, just to not share of each other's stories with the group if that's not appropriate. Let's start out with energy levels. If this is like the most energy I've ever had, and arm down here is like I just want to go to bed right now, where are we at? Just putting our arms out to the side. Halfway?
Yeah.
A little up, a little high, shanty. Yeah? Okay, we're about here. Okay. And mood. If this is like happy-go-lucky, and this is I'm in the worst mood of my life, somewhere in the middle. Here. Okay. Okay. I'm about here, slowly getting up here, but it's been a rough week. So let's start out first with just taking a few deep breaths together. Hi, Caroline. We're going to start taking just a few deep breaths together. So everybody inhale really deep and exhale. Couple more breaths in together. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Centering breath together. Inhale. Pause just a moment. And exhale. Getting every ounce of breath out of the lungs, exhaling all the way as far as you can breathe out, letting it all out. Okay. So the question that sort of really inspired tonight's discussion, or tonight's theme, was, maybe you've heard of this phrase, if a tree falls in the woods and no one hears it, does it still make a sound? And I thought this was really intriguing that because this theme was decided weeks ago, and thought it's very intriguing that now we're coming, there's a lot going on in the world. And so the thing I'm thinking now with sound is, if I can't hear the voices of someone else, do they still make a sound? Just because I can't hear them. And does anyone have any thoughts on that? As far as hearing the things that we don't really hear, or just any thoughts that come into your awareness so far, anything at all. Just want to hear where we're at.
I guess you said if a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it, does it still make a sound, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it does. Because even if there's nobody to sort of bear witness to it, it's still something that happened. And it can still impact the environment around it. It's still occurred, you know. And I guess there's a lot of things like that. I mean, there's all sorts of things that happen in space that we like can't see or hear because they're happening so far away, like some star imploding or something like that. And it makes a huge impact, but we're not necessarily able to perceive it. Or even like on our planet, like, you know, like the ice caps are like melting, but that doesn't mean that there's, you know, it's in the Arctic, so nobody's there to like see it. But and yet we're experiencing the effects of it because the ocean level's rising, and then it's you know, Louisiana is starting to become submerged. So like it's like
It's kind of, it's like you're
yeah.
describing the butterfly effect a little. Like these things happen, and just because no one's around to hear it or see how they're connected, they still are. Yeah.
Yeah, like even the tree, like if you're being literal, like that tree was taking in CO2 and putting out oxygen. So that's one less tree to do that. And if it falls in the forest, like when it falls, it's gonna eventually like become compost or whatever for the other trees around it, and you know, who are gonna kind of benefit from the nutrients of the broken down tree after a long time. And yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. And so have you all heard of the phrase white noise? Like they have this white noise machines where it's just like sound that you can sleep with. And so I wanted to ask if there's a differentiation for anyone. What are the things you hear over and over that you can identify versus the things that you tune out as white noise or just noise? And how do you know the difference?
That's interesting. I feel like I can tune out just about any noise. You know, my daughter, you know, noises drive her crazy, but they just don't bother me. You know, and if it's something I need or want to pay attention to, I can. And isn't white noise still noise though? I mean, the grandbabies have white noise machines and there's still noise.
Mm-hmm. And I've even heard the phrase sound pollution, that so much everything we have, I mean, I live in the city, and so there's just always noise. There's always noise here. And sometimes the sound of silence is a little daunting because I'm so used to having sounds around. And Cindy, I think that's really, you bring up a good point that we can learn what to tune out and what to listen to, and there can be more discretion in sound as it comes in instead of letting that over pollution occur. Yeah, to choose to tune it out versus just always listening. I think there's a difference there.
And I also wanted to comment on the other scenario that you gave about the tree, and then you talked about, you know, a person, and related it to a person making noise. And to me, that was really powerful because, you know, we don't know if the person in the house or apartment next door to us is crying or laughing. And the same with the self, you know, I could be in the house crying or laughing myself and nobody hears it, but it's still happening.
Right. Yeah, that's very powerful. I've even thought of sound as input. Like I was really thinking about this one night when my roommate was upstairs and I thought she was crying. And so I started to get really concerned, like, oh, what's she crying about? What's wrong? Should I go up and visit her? And then once I stood in a different part of my room and I could hear her a little better, I heard she was actually laughing and she wasn't crying. And so I thought, wow, my whole embodiment changed. I became concerned. I started to wonder how I should intervene. And then all of that changed because of my position and how I was able to relate to that sound and hear it more clearly. You know.
Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, Caroline. How are you?
My parents are asleep, so.
Okay. I'll be quiet.
Okay, thank you. I was reflecting, actually. Did you hear about Schrodinger's cat?
I do, yeah. Do you want to explain?
I am not sure I have the ability, but what I remember of the feeling I had when I heard of it at the time was about the perception I have of things. If I am on another state, I could, in the same situation, have a different perception, and then it's the same, nearly the same as the experience you had with your friend. Like, if I don't feel anger, I can't perceive anger, and all those sort of things. And so it's really interesting to see that, if I peace myself, actually, I can be more at peace with external situations, because I wouldn't see what would be wrong, and then it wouldn't be wrong because it would change as well, because all energies are connected. So yeah, it's inspiring and fucked up, but
I think that's so interesting that you bring up Schrodinger's cat, because that does if you're not familiar with Schrodinger's cat, Schrodinger put a cat in a box, and at any moment the cat could either be dead or alive, but we really don't know until we open the box. So he was positing that in a way the cat is both dead and alive until we open the box and to find out. And the same with thinking of sound as input and output too. It's your perception changes so much, and being able to ignore what we want to ignore and hear what we want to hear, and not in the sense of, oh, I hear what I want to from the situation, but choosing to hear what we want to focus on as opposed to being the sound pollution. as opposed to just constantly being bombarded by the sound pollution. So thank you for sharing. How does, you're in Paris, aren't you, Caroline?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
What time is
strong.
it there?
3 a.m.
3 a.m. You're a night owl. So how does a little bit of meditation sound, just to get us quieted and brought together, and then Monica will lead us in some movement and we can explore. How about that? Okay, I'm gonna mute everyone real quick and then we can gather. Bring yourself into a seated position or laying down, however you wanna do it. Upright and seated, comfortable, making sure you're breathing. Close your eyes. When you're ready, nice and softly. Take a nice deep breath. And just notice your body without any judgment whatsoever. Feel your body. Just take notice of the breath. Are you breathing deeply, slowly? Are your breaths long? Are they short and shallow? How do you feel? Notice whatever texture you're sitting on. Is it hard? Is it soft? Feel where your body comes in contact with your seat, your cushion or couch or chair. And feel the weight of your body pressing against your seat. Notice your legs, your thighs, your hips, your back. Breathing slowly into the belly. We're not worrying about emptying the mind. Not worried about calming the mind. We're just noticing our bodies. Taking notice of our breath. With every inhale, with every exhale. Pay attention to the sound of your breath. Ask yourself how familiar you are with the sound of your own breathing. What else can you hear? Feel your body in relationship to the room you're in. Feel the four walls around you. Can you hear anything outside? Can you hear anything inside? What do you hear over and over in your life? How have you internalized those messages? And where do those messages show up in the body? How do the sounds we hear change us? How do we discern what we want to hear in life? Who do we surround ourselves with? Who do we listen to? Still taking note of your breath, always coming back to the breath. Notice your shoulders as they relax down, as you release tension from your chest. Really ease the muscles in the chest. Let your heart relax so that you can breathe, so that you can hear the sound of your breath. How does the way your body moves when you breathe, what does that say about your breath? What patterns to your breath are you noticing? Like to put your hand on your belly to feel your belly exhale as you breathe out. Or inhale, belly should expand, and breathing out collapses down. Make sure to let out every ounce of breath from your lungs. Breathe gently. Soften the body. Soften your tongue. Soften your jaw. Soften your belly. And relax. If you notice tension anywhere in the body, breathing into it and releasing that tension. For the next couple minutes, I want you to track your breath as we sit in silence and listen to the sound of silence just for a couple minutes. I'm going to be quiet, but I want you to track your breath. Slow it as much as you can. Feeling your body not as parts, but as a whole. Just listen. As we ease out of our moment of silence, tracking our breath, taking notice again of what we sound like. Asking ourselves, what if sound was input for safety? What if safety were an inside job? And what if I could bring people a sense of safety with the sounds I choose to make? And what if, no matter what sounds were coming into my space, that I could still maintain that sense of safety within myself? Notice if tension arises anywhere in the body. And exhaling relaxation as you begin to bring some movement into your fingers and toes. Start to gently sway back and forward as you come back into the space. Hopefully with a new sense of sound. I think we'll do some breakout rooms just for a couple minutes, and you're gonna go into a room with one other person and talk about what came up for you, answer any of the prompts about that sense of safety, being within, or maybe you thought of something else without that you want to bring into the space. I'll just give you a couple minutes with one other person, and I'll meet you back here in 3 minutes. How about that? Okay. All right, see you all in 3 minutes. Welcome back. So, anyone want to share? Anything at all? What popped into your awareness? How did your body feel? How do you feel? You can unmute yourself, anyone. Yeah.
I think Shanti was talking, but she's muted.
Oh, okay. I'll try to. I was looking at you because I thought you were doing that too. Let me try to. Oh, Shanti, there you go. I can hear you both now.
Oh, I didn't have anything particular in terms of what we talked about, but I had been thinking about something earlier when we were kind of discussing as a group.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking how I was actually thinking about the George Floyd incident, actually, and how, yeah, I'm sorry if this distresses anyone, my talking about this. I can stop if it is, but when he said I can't breathe, and everybody kind of around him was like as if he said nothing. And if it had never been caught on video, then it kind of would have been like that tree, you know, that nobody was listening. Like, it's like, sometimes I almost think of it as like history being erased. And like, that's just one example, but you know, there's so many things that I think that happen that are like, that happen out in the world that are somehow silenced because the people around them choose not to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought about that as well. You took it a little further than I did. You know, if it hadn't been caught on video, and I think about how many times something like that wasn't caught on video, and that's disturbing to think about.
Go ahead, Shant.
Oh no, I was just saying I resonate with what Cindy said. Yeah.
Go ahead, Cindy.
Yeah, and you know, I think that incident has kind of, I don't know, for me it's raised an awareness of wanting to listen more, but also speak more, because I want to learn, and I want to learn from the source, and you know, to do that you have to listen.
Yeah, I'm not going to say much because I just want to sit in the space of I wonder if because even with the poison ivy on my throat, I feel I've just exploded with emotion this week, and it's even on my chest, and I think out of all the places that I probably touched to spread it, it's on my throat and my heart specifically, and I resonate with that too. My body wants to speak more. My body wants to use in my voice, because of the things I've heard that I can't unhear, and it changes. It's interesting how. Well, actually, Monica, are we ready to go into some movement? Because I know Monica's practice will be, I think, put all of this into the body. So are you ready? Is everyone else ready? Yeah? Okay, I'll unmute you, Monica. I'll mute everyone else. And you wanted us to start standing, is that right? Oh, I think I unmuted you at the same time you did, so I muted you.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. So I'm going to invite you to stand if you can. It's okay if you don't. You can do it in your seat if you need to. Just your movements will be micro movements. So we're going to shake out the body a little bit. Make some sound if you can, if you want to. And give yourself a moment to stretch and breathe and expand and contract and feel out where all those little tense places are. Yeah. And if you can, turn away from your screen and just come into your own space as you stretch and feel your own body. What's it like to be in your own body? Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Make some sound if you choose to. And invite you to brush your skin. Really feel your skin. Brush over your head, your neck, your face, your arms, all the way down to your back and your legs. Really feel the visceralness of your body. When you're ready, just put one hand on your heart, the other hand on your belly. Just close your eyes. Bring in some soft knees. And allow your nervous system to calm down, slow down. Allow your mind to sink into your body. And give a deep inhale through the nose. And an exhale through the mouth. I'm just going to do this a couple of times. Deep inhale through the nose. All the way through the belly. Fill that belly in the lungs. And then breathe out, exhale through your mouth. Inhale through the nose. Deep as you can go, expand that belly. And exhale through the mouth. And rock back and forth on your heels and your toes. Just very gently. Just allow your body to settle. Your mind to settle in the body. And just notice what you notice. How's the quality of your breath? Are you moving a little bit, swaying a little bit? Are you just standing still? Notice any tension anywhere. Just give attention to it. Just to relax. And slow down. Allow your body just to slow down. And gently come back into the room. Open your eyes. And give a stretch. So I'm going to give you 3 moves. First one is going to be neutral. Second one, sponge. And the third is mesh. So neutral is just about open awareness. So we're going to start there and then I'll explain as we go through sponge and mesh. So neutral, feet on the ground, very solid, both heel and toe, soft knees. Bring your arms up and just allow your energy to come into your body and just sink in. And as you bring your hands down, it's just going to be just in front of your belly with your arms just in front of your belly. Soft hands. And this is what's called neutral position. Just a sense of open awareness, no context, no attachment to anything, just really relaxing into the space and feeling nothing, just allowing that anything that comes up to just settle and move out of the body. And this is neutral. So we're going to breathe in, and the sound is just a yeah, just to release all your lung capacity if you can when you breathe out. So breathe in through the nose and make some sound as you breathe out. Last time, deep breath in, breathe out. Just allowing your whole body just to ripple through that sense of relaxation. Just sitting in the body. And from this place, we're going to move back 1. So step back. Then we're going to go down, and we're just going to fold in with our hands. Head down, eyes down to the ground, very gentle, soft eyes. focusing on just your bodily sensations, focusing on just you. So back is the focus on the sensations, down is just sensing what's going on in the body, and the in is just unfolding just in your own energy. Self-sensing on the inside, focusing the attention on the self, and just notice what you notice. How focused am I? Is my attention elsewhere, outside of my body? And allow your mind to come back to just your body. Relax and sink in. Having more sense of sensory awareness, your felt experience, your grounding as your feet are on the floor. Being fully present. Staying connected to your own feelings and your own felt experience. And just gently inhale and exhale in this space. And we're going to add a sound to it. So you'll notice your tongue is going to go back. Your jaw is going to be closed and you've got narrow lips as you do an ooh. So inhale and tongue back, closed jaw and narrow lips. And it's a ooh. Inhale, exhale, ooh. Inhale, exhale, ooh. Just going as deep as you can. It's a very soft vowel. And it's meant to bring a sense of calm and grounding to the body, giving a sense of safety. Like you're in this lovely warm cocoon. Now we're going to come back out. So step forward. Arms down in front of the belly, back to neutral. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And notice what you notice in terms of the sponge as opposed to the neutral. Is there any difference in that as you calm yourself? And now we're going to move into what's called mesh. And this is interaction with the outside world. So that the sponge is about the inner experience, what you feel. And this mesh is going into the outer experience, how you connect with other people, connect to groups, connect to partner, connect to the world. So we're going to go out with your feet, forward, and arms are going to be up and out towards the group if you want to, but it's going to be out here, so on an angle. And just move with fluidity and just feel into the space of your room, looking at all the surroundings, looking at the screen, noticing other people moving. And just be curious what you notice. How can we lean into the spaces together? What's possible here, right? This is fluid, dynamic. It's a sense of playful connection as you maybe connect with someone in the group. Yeah, right. Noticing you can go up, you can go down, just feeling that space of connection to the outside world. And how easy is it to go there with the other? Is it comfortable? Is it not comfortable? What do you notice about your own body? Is it fluid or is it stiff? Is it awkward? Do you feel into this space? Yeah. connect with other people, connect with the space and where you are right now. Yeah. Co-creative collaboration. Yeah. Okay. And then coming back to neutral. Oh, actually, before we do that, I forgot about the sound. So let's do the sound. So the sound, the tongue is out, the mouth is wide, and it's ah. So as you move, you're going to do an ah, ah. And this is the loudest of all the vowels that I do in my practice. Ah. You can go as loud as you want or soft as you want. Ah, you know, very soft. Ah, you can go ah. Just notice what you notice as you play in the space of the sounds of ah. Okay. And then coming back, gathering all your energy back to neutral. Grounding your feet. Bringing your hands in front of your belly and letting the mesh go, the outside world go, and just coming to a sense of self. Neutral, grounded, self-awareness. And take a deep breath and let it go. Good. Now we're going to do one more round, but I'm going to use a context of what's going on in the world. In the sense of with George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, the COVID, everything that's going on in the outside world and not sure what to do with it, all the overwhelm and where the call to action is, and you know, which direction do you go? What's your focus? So I'm allowing that as a context for us to have that and also bring ourselves to a place of groundedness and safety as we see that and feel that in our bodies and how it makes us feel when we see all these things going on in the world. So I'm going to use that as a context in this next round, and we're just going to be gentle with it. This embodiment can be very powerful, so I just want you to go at your own pace and your own level. So if it's too much, back up if you can. So we're going to step forward again, arms out, and just feel all those things that are going on in the world. All the chaos, unemployment, how am I going to feed my kids, rent, oh my God, there's so much going on in the world, right? And just going to your own pace of how much that is overwhelming. All the chaos in the world. And again, using the sound ah, 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 all the pain and suffering that's going on in the world, and just don't know what to do with it all. So heavy. Oh, ah. Okay. So knowing that's all going on in the world, we're going to bring in neutral very, very gently. Deep breath in and let it all go. And then slowly moving into sponge. Back, down, and in, and unfolding. Feeling your own experience and knowing that I'm okay and I'm safe. Even though with what's going on in the world, I can feel my own inner experience amongst all the noise. I can hear my own voice. I can hear my own sounds. And it's okay. Deep breath in and out. And we're going to do the tongue back, closed jaw, narrow lips. Ooh. Ooh. And allow that to relax your mind and calm your body. Ooh. And we're going to do one more like round, but just oscillating between mesh and sponge. So go out very gently out into sponge. Ah. And step back into ooh. And out. Ah. And back in. Ooh. And then stepping out of both and coming back to neutral. Deep breath in and let it all go. Shake it out. Okay. And there you go. Sponge and mesh and neutral.
Wow, that's so powerful. We only have 4 minutes left, so let's spend it. Love that you have the, what is that? Tehatre veil?
Is that there?
And, oh, maybe. I do like it. Monica's very purple. How was that? I'll unmute everyone, and not that you have to share, but now that we're all closing, any final experiences, thoughts, anything come up for you? How was it? How was it for you, Monica?
It was fun. I said my first time leading a group, so thank you. I appreciate that. Noticing for myself, like slowing down and listening to my own sounds.
You did a wonderful job. I really love, and it's so perfect for the topic too, you know, like all this out external input and then output for us. It's output versus input, and how do we, sponge it up versus mesh it? How do we, and to physically feel going through that, it's such a reminder that we have all this range that we can choose within the range. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Theater curtain. Caroline. Yeah, your backdrop, Monica. Your forest and my tattoos. We're all artists. So, any final thoughts before we say good night?
I enjoyed the movement. Thank you, Monica.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It's a practice called Uzazu. U-Z-A-Z-U.
U-Z-A-Z, Uzazu. Okay.
Do you want me to put a link in the chat box?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, sure.
I think you both did a wonderful job. I really enjoyed this whole hour, and I learned so much about myself and all of you from it, and it was just so nourishing.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I agree.
I wonder if anybody else had the same experience, but I noticed that, like, because we went to neutral 3 times, and I noticed that I was able to, like, feel more grounded and at peace with the neutral state after I did the outward and inward. It was like almost like I had to experience the extremes in order to find the balance in the middle or something.
Yeah. That's a great observation. Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's so lovely.
what'd you say, Monica? I missed it.
I said that's so lovely, because that's what it's meant to do, is find the balance between you and the world.
And I feel that coming into neutral from sponge is very different than coming into neutral from mesh. It's like, yeah, it's like 3 different experiences. Depending on where we're going or coming from, it changes, and it's a different felt sense each time. So yeah, building that range. Good. So, well, this is the same time next week. Next week, the force of nature that we'll be exploring is membranes, or containment, what we hold on to, what we let in and out, the idea of membranes. And let's do one word. I want everyone to say one word in closing, and then we'll say good evening. And I'll mention one more time, the Embodiment Conference is happening in October. They're who's sponsoring all this, so I'll mention that again this time next week. And my word for this evening is sound. I'll say sound. So, popcorn. What's one word for checkout tonight?
Embodied.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mine's not even that. It is a sound. Neutral.
Like that.
Gratitude, Caroline. Thank you. Gratitude.
Yummy.
Sweet.
Lovely.
Love that.
Well, thank you, ladies, for coming this evening. I hope I see you soon or again sometime. And rest well and enjoy listening to the sound of your breath. So, I'll stick around for a couple minutes. Thank you so much. But
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Right.
So good to be with you all.